All right, good afternoon and welcome to Moore Farms in South Central Kansas. We're about 80 miles west of Wichita, and we are kind of in the middle of corn planting for our 2021 corn crop. Started that process about the first few days of April on non-irrigated ground, and then started irrigated ground about a couple of weeks ago, and then we kind of took a break because we struggled with some cold weather for a while, but we've been back at it now since the middle of last week. This is, like I said, Moore Farms, a family farm that's been here in the northwest part of Pratt County since 1877. So that makes me the fifth generation to own and operate this farm with my dad. My wife and I, Suzanne and I, have a couple of kids. Brian's a lawyer in Pratt and is out here quite a bit helping us when we're busy. Then my daughter's also in law school. I've been involved in Kansas corn for a number of years, both from the Corn Growers Association side and the Kansas Corn Commission side. And the commission side has been, I think, a real eye-opener to me of how Kansas corn producers use that checkoff, that penny per bushel at the first point of sale that's generated, that provides the funding for what we do. And a large part of what we do is try to expand uses for corn. And one of the great ways that we've done that is through export. And whether that's the export of the commodity itself, that bushel of corn, or that DDG, or that ethanol, anything that provides a use, we're interested in supporting through research and action. Exports are extremely important to the U.S. corn producer. We have the capacity to produce a lot of corn, and obviously we have to deal with the weather in that scenario, but most of the time we're going to have a good corn crop and a good quality corn crop. Okay, first off, how do we decide what we're going to plant crop rotation wise and for this farm and then this region as a whole? On this farm, and I think around this South Central Kansas region, corn is king, and we grow a lot of irrigated corn. Primarily because we have a pretty good track record of growing good crops year in and year out. And we do grow other crops on those irrigated acres, such as wheat or soybeans or things like that. But by and large, corn dominates the acreage decisions here for my farm and for farms in this general area. My acres for 2021 really aren't any different than they were in 2020. How do we make that decision? A lot of it is based on what has worked for us in the past. We can look at the market conditions and see what prices are for the various commodities, but kind of as soon as you start doing that, you'll figure out at some point in time you're going to be wrong. And obviously the price of feed grains, price of soybeans have risen quite a bit here in the last few months. But I think most farmers, myself included, pretty much set on the acres they have, the acres that they're going to grow, and what they're going to dedicate those acres to. So really doesn't change much year to year, because you just kind of got to go with what works year in and year out. And a lot of year-to-year factors aren't clear enough, far enough into the future to always make those decisions and just turn on a dime and do something different. Because like a lot of the seed, the fertilizer, and all the things that I'm planting now are things that I've bought months ago to take advantage of volume and quantity and just get things booked in at the right price and a known price. So that's kind of how we go about it, and I think that's, in a general rule, is how everybody around here goes around it. Just have to do what makes sense for their own operation. Okay, so here we are at the field where we're planting, at least right now today. This is our corn planter. We can also use it to plant other crops too, but kind of how it works is the seed corn is in these large tanks, these bulk tanks up here at the top, and then there is a stream of air that takes that seed from that bulk hopper to each individual row. So there are 16 rows on this planter, and they're 30-inch row spacing. So the seed comes out of the bulk hopper into this mini hopper right here. So there's seed corn right here. And then there's a plate. There's this plate that turns, and there's a vacuum applied through this hose. And then there's actually a brush belt that takes the seed from this point clear to the ground. There is no free fall involved at all in this planter anymore. It's all controlled. You also have a row cleaner. This is just going to move the residue out of the way. So when we're in the ground, this is going to spin. This is delivering some fertilizer to each individual row. It's a combination of nitrogen and phosphorus and sulfur and some zinc also. But that's going to put the fertilizer in for each row, the 2 inches below and 2 inches to the side of where the seed's going to be. So that's kind of how the thing works, and it's a really kind of an amazing piece of technology that we have to be able to plant our crops and do it efficiently and effectively and fairly quickly. So let's get in and plant some corn. Okay, so we are in the field planting corn. A little bit about the technology. First off, everything is driven off of Global Positioning System, GPS. So we have the capacity and the ability to replicate a pass basically from any time that we make one to the next time. We're in this field, we are obviously we're in a corn following last 2020's crop, so we're planting this one in a strip till situation. Now the population can be tuned specifically to each acre or to each field, and we have the capacity to prepare that prescription during the off season. It wirelessly transfers that file from basically any point on the earth to this machine, and then has the capacity to plant that population in this spot at this time. So again, the technology is much appreciated. Obviously, I'm not driving the thing. I do it when I turn around, but you turn around, you hit the button, you acquire that line that you want to drive for that, and away you go. Right now we're going around 6.5 miles an hour. Probably could go a little faster than that, but there's instances where we can go much faster because of the soil conditions or the residue conditions let us. Okay, so we've got a couple of side saddle tanks here on the tractor. That product is a liquid fertilizer. It's a blend. It's a blend of nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, also some zinc in that. But what that allows us to do is to place that fertilizer right next to the seed, and that way that seed, as it starts its journey towards becoming a bushel in your bin, harvest this fall, gets that crop off to a good start. Okay, so we're gonna check seed depth. We'll find that seed. It should be about 2 inches deep. Yep, one found there. It was right there. So we've got a seed right there. We know that at this population there should be one about 6 inches away from that seed. So there's the other one right there. That's one thing about the brush belt with these planters, very predictable. If there's one there, there's going to be one there, there will be one there. So really is amazing. Really do appreciate the opportunity to show you a little bit of more farms here in South Central Kansas. And again, thank you so much for your time. And hopefully it's been educational, and really do appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.